Pressing questions we can't help but ask. When I was 20 years old, I got the phone call nobody wants to receive. Actually, it was a message to return a phone call, handed to me on a small slip of paper at a youth revival where I was preaching in the tiny Texas town of Crowell. This was 1970, long before cell phones arrived on the scene, and the only way someone could reach me was by leaving word with the secretary of the little church in Wichita Falls that was hosting the event. A volunteer at the conference placed the message in my hand, and as I read it, my heart sank low in my chest. "Please call your brother," it read. "It's an emergency." As I made my way to a payphone, my mind swirled with morbid supposition. Had someone been injured? Someone in my family? A close friend? Had something happened to Deb? My wife and I had only been married for 3 months. Our lives were just beginning. Surely she was okay. I dialed slowly, trying to subdue the nervousness that fumbled my fingers over the keys. My brother Bob picked up immediately. "Jack," he said, "it's Dad. He's been hit." Hit? Hit with what? My incredulity betrayed the fear I felt deep in my bones. My father managed a hardware store that was connected to a grocery store in downtown Fort Worth, Texas, and took great pride in his work. He loved people and loved working with his hands, so he was a natural for the job. At 56, he was vibrant, strong, in shape. He'd always been that way. In fact, during his growing-up years, he was something of a street fighter, a rough-and-tumble guy who knew how to defend himself. But on this day, he would be caught off guard. On this day, he'd lose the fight. Local merchants all over Fort Worth evidently had been put on high alert because of recent shoplifting activity in the area. The morning I was to begin my preaching duties at the revival, 2 hours south of there, it was a Friday morning, I remember, Dad stepped outside into the parking lot of the hardware store to nail a sale banner to one of the posts that flanked the front door. He was part way through the task when a man darted through the grocery store's front door and raced right past my dad, a carton of cigarettes tucked under his arm. Moments later, the grocery manager flew out of the store behind the man, yelling, "Shoplifter, stop him, stop him!" Seeing the manager's panicked countenance and wanting desperately to be of help, my dad did the only thing he could think to do. He flung the hammer he was holding at the shoplifter, who was a good 20 yards away by now and gaining distance. Dad had hoped to arrest the man's progress and at least impair him long enough for the police to arrive on the scene. But instead of hitting the shoplifter, the hammer whizzed right past his ear and tumbled to the asphalt, claw over handle twice. The mere fact that my dad had thrown a hammer at the man so enraged the crook that he stopped dead in his tracks, walked over to where the hammer was, reached down and picked it up, then turned